Okay, my friends, this is Roger, Mudfossil University, and this is the History Channel, and I have every right to show this under the Fair Use Act, and I have an especially good right to show this because Scott Wolter claimed this was not real, 100% sure that it's a carved sandstone head, and he is completely wrong, and I can prove it. Now, here's what he had to say. This, I believe, was the original statement he made years ago when I had my first encounter with him, which ended up with police and lawyers coming after me because I had to take it down to Texas to have it CAT scanned, and they were so uncooperative. This part has nothing to do with Scott Wolter, but has to do with Yale. They said, "Oh, you have to have this and that." We took it down, had a CAT scan. They wouldn't even talk to me, so I harassed them basically. I have to be honest, yes, I did, and they sent lawyers and police and said no more. And I had to stop. But here's what he had to say, and this was why I was so upset, because I know it's real. It's absolutely 100% real, and now it can be proven. Because at this point, I was having my DNA test done, and my giants and all that, and Jim understood all that, and he knew that I was right, and I knew that he was right, and Scott still, just a week ago, not even a week ago, just a couple days ago, put this video out. Look.
It weighs 22 pounds. Wow.
Pretty good sized head.
So, what's your interpretation of this?
Well, my interpretation, this is probably a giant, maybe a young giant. If you look at it, this head's been decapitated, and you can see the cross section of the skin here. It comes down to the Adam's apple.
It was actually decapitated. From a real human.
A real human being. I think there was a human head deposited in this shallow marsh long time ago, probably cold conditions. And it was in a mineral-rich, oxygen-free environment.
Mud fossils. He understood it, and Scott has no clue about it.
And if it was 10, 15, maybe 40,000 years ago, who knows?
So you think this was an actual human head that has basically fossilized into stone?
That's what I believe.
Mud
To
fossils.
be honest with you, I'm going to respectfully disagree with your interpretation. This, to me, without any doubt, is
Without any doubt. And now he's just saying this today, or a couple days ago. This is very upsetting.
sandstone head. It was carved.
Carved? Nobody carves the cartilage in the freaking nose.
This feature here is actually some iron staining.
Yeah, iron is blood.
Do you think it's possible that this could be symbolic of a giant's head? When I was at the Judiculla stone, there's absolutely
Scott, I don't want to be disrespectful, and I won't hold a grudge, but you need to start to pay attention to the things that I have presented, because what I am presenting is facts. The things that you are presenting now are complete nonsense. You're not only this, but any concretions. He thinks those balls that are all over there, they call them concretions. No, they're just concretions. They just pop out of the ground. I got to be honest, Scott, you got a lot of work to do, brother, if you want to stay in this business, because it has completely changed, and you have not even paid attention, brother. All right, you have absolutely no idea, unless you've been following me, how big these giants were. I have these are on my property, and this is the small hand. It's 36 inches wide. It's a left hand. This is the bumper part of your hand, the pudgy part, and then you have that little tendon that runs down there. This is grip skin. You see this silver skin? That's the stuff that is really, really tough. And I showed this over. I have a ton of parts from this thing. There's a fingertip, and that's been CAT scanned, DNA certified and everything. We took the blood from up inside of it. So it's not like I swabbed it off of here. I've had, it's been CAT scanned. It's been DNA certified. It's been certified by an anatomist. That's where the tendons lock in there, so you can move your fingers and do all that stuff. There's no question what it is. It's just denials of looking at it. And that's the small one. I have another one that just this part of the finger is this wide, 36 inches. And that is also DNA certified. That's DNA certified. The other one was DNA certified. Here it is right here. Let's see if I can find it quick. Here we go. All right, that's it right there. And that's the fingernail. It's 3 feet long from here to here. And the fingernail's in very good shape. And the fingerprints are there, and I've shown the fingerprints. That's the bone at the back of your... There's a bone, a little round bone at the back. It bumps up against the other bone. They're held together by ligaments and tendons, and that gives you the flexibility. Now, this is the fingernail right here. I broke this off. I said before with a 16-pound sledge. I think it might be an 8-pound sledge. You know, details are important. Now, the fingerprints are there. There's no mystery here. It's DNA certified. I couldn't CAT scan that. I can't lift the damn thing. As a matter of fact, I tore my shoulder out doing that. I had to have surgery. That thing's heavy, man. It's got to be 300-400 pounds. It's 3 feet long, and it's very, very thick. It's like a thumb, like that, only 3 feet long, and whatever it is here, I don't know, 20-30 inches wide, something like that. Remember I told you the fingerprints were there? Here they are. Those are the fingerprints. I broke that off with the 8-pound sledge, I believe 8 pounds, and that is the grip skin. There it is right there. That's the thickness of the guy's skin. Dude, that's the thickness of this grip skin right there. It really just peels right off like that. Now, again, I went up, in this case it would be down, into the fleshy area and got some arterial blood out of there. But this is it. These are the sweat pores, you see them? Those are little sweat pores. And what it is, right here was the fingerprint, fingernail, was right here. And your fingerprints start right very close to your fingernail. So, no mystery here, just things that they said in the past appear to be real. And that has a lot of consequences for a lot of different areas that now need to be reconsidered. A lot of different areas. I mean, well, I'm going to go through the pyramids and what the pyramids were built for, and because there's no. Well, we're going to go through the whole thing. They have very, very little idea of how these things were done. They have no idea how big the giants were. They have no idea of what happened after the flood. All of that stuff has been laughed at. So now it's time to look at it as it was written, and it was written. And it was, there's no mysteries here. This is the key. Everybody laughs at everything and they immediately turn away, and they're the ones that are teaching everybody else what they have to say or they will fail them in life. This has got to stop. All right. The key here is that Scott Wolter has no clue about biology or chemistry or anatomy or any of the E's other than what he was told to say about geology, which is 100% wrong. That's the nose. That's the cartilage in the nose. And I have an anatomical book here that shows this in extreme detail, and it shows the cartilage. Nobody carved that. How could he possibly not understand this? And what do you think blood is? It's ferrous oxides. One of them is black and one of them is red because it's the hematite and the magnetite. Those are the two different irons. One of them is your arterial blood and one of them is your vein blood. That is bone black when a bone gets crushed. This cap is a cap. Jim said you could put I've never touched this, but I don't need to touch it. I understand this so well that I know exactly what it is, and it was a human head. I don't think it was a giant at all. No, absolutely not. But I mean, you could see every detail once you understand how to look at the details. And for Scott Wolter to put this out a couple of days ago, that, oh no, that's wrong, you're wrong. I want to have some discussion. I deserve that, and Jim Burchell really deserves it. He went on TV and he told him, no, you're wrong, and now here he is again saying he's wrong, and you, my friend Scott Wolter, are wrong. All right, this is from the DNA report. It's very long and it's very complicated, but this is the most important part. The primer pairs A1 and these other primers that were used to generate PCR products were also used in DNA sequencing. Excellent quality DNA sequence was obtained for the 36-inch tip. Now, this is down here, the 36-inch tip. Homo sapien mitochondrial cytochrome B, Homo sapien mitochondrial D loop. I don't care. The lung is here. The lung, you know, a 10-year-old can tell you that's a lung, and it was also DNA certified, and the same stuff here, and it's CAT scanned and all that. This is the huge fingertip. It was just a tip, 36 inches long. It has the fingerprints and everything on it. So, and I was the one that extracted the DNA, right out of the arteries. All right, I didn't take it just wiping off the edge or something. I went inside and took it with a pin drill, and then you get like little shavings, and you put it in a plastic bag. You put another plastic bag around it, you send it off. Of course, you know, have plastic gloves on and all that business. You don't contaminate it. And he said it was very dense for ancient DNA, obviously, because I took it right out of the blood. I have stuff that actually leaked blood on my counter. So don't tell anybody you can't get blood out of a rock. That's insane. Now, I don't hold grudges, but I want this rectified. This is a 3-foot wide hand. This is the one Jim says he's associated to giants. This is the giant. Well, I have more than just this one, and this is DNA certified. I took the blood from an arterial blood supply. This is grip skin, the silverish part. That's the pad around your hand. This is a left hand. This is the bumper part. It runs right around here. All right, you can see it looks like it's almost puttied on here. And this is the grip skin that's peeling off. This is that little strip that runs down a tendon. Your thumb goes off this way. This is one of the fingers from it. I have all kinds of stuff from this giant. And this is right on my property. This is one of the fingers from it. I had this CAT scan, DNA certified, anatomist, the whole 9 yards. There is no denying this. So I expect Scott Wolter or somebody that represents him to get a hold of me and we can talk. All right, I don't have to go too much into the CAT scan, but this is the fingertip. Remember this fingertip I showed you? And the fingernail would have been right in here. You can actually see it in a CAT scan. And when it's in, you know, I don't have all of that stuff set up now. All I can show you is a couple little quickies. But the pads are here on your finger. I took the blood sample out from way up inside of it. And this, if you look, you can't see it much when you look at this thing. You say, oh, that's just a rock. Well, let me show you something when you put it in a CAT scan. This is just, that is, each one of these is a tendon that comes down on the side of your fingers so that you can move your fingers and so forth. They're not deniable to anyone that has any, you know, vision, really. I mean, it's what it is. Now, your thumb, or I'm not sure what, I think we decided that was the thumb. But anyway, the bone will bump up against another bone. Now, it doesn't necessarily bump up. Like this one bumps up on one side or the other. And this is the side it bumps up on, basically. You see? See how it's not sitting right in the middle? Maybe I'm awkward, I don't know. But you can see this is quite obvious what we have here. So there's no mystery here. And it's CAT scanned, well, obviously it's a CAT scan, but it's DNA certified, it's everything. And the top anatomist in the world, literally, is the one that did we talked about this, because we also, between Gil Headley and I, who owns his own school, teaches everywhere in the world, nicest guy you ever want to meet, we discovered interstitium, which is the tendon balls. They're little tiny balls that have little straps on them, and that's how your flesh can move all these different ways and come back. They never knew about this. I'm serious. I am absolutely. You look. Well, I'm going to show you. I got to show you. Hold on. All right. I wonder what Scott Wolters would say about this rock right here. Well, guess what that rock happens to be? A lung. And guess what that lung has? Black and red and arteries and alveoli and the whole shooting match. This is where Gary first found it. Gary Evans, a friend of mine, found this in a salt flat. Same thing, but this was in a salt flat. Now, look at this. And when you first take it out, they look like they're just perfect. However, they are so invaded with salt that they just fall apart. And I'll show you that in a second. Now, Jim's did not fall apart. My stuff doesn't fall apart. I showed you my stuff. It's just like brand new. It's literally just, it's preserved like you preserved a ham. And then you just left it there forever. And if you look at that surface, they call that feldspar. It is the fabric of life. It was on this lung, just as like it's on this lung. And that is the black blood, which I showed before, which was on the head that Jim had, and that's red, obviously, red blood. You know, the case is closed on this, and I believe that, you know, an examination to see if you were right is merited, Scott. That's all I'm asking for, my friend. And then I would work with you, and I would put you ahead of everybody else. Because I am ahead of everybody else right now. I have the evidence, I have the chemistry, I have the anatomy, I have everything. Oh, I forgot to show you the interstitium. All right, this is the guy right here, Gil Hedley, fascia and stretching. Fascia is this stuff, only this on the lung they call it pleura, but it's nothing more than a rubber bag that coats your organs, everything is coated with fascia. It's like a membrane, but it's this stuff here, they call it feldspar. And this goes way back, 2009, 2000. This is when he reconsidering the fuzz. This is when I was working with him, and we decided, well, nobody else would work with me in the whole world. I was asking, what is all this stuff with all these little balls and these straps in these giants? And I realized it was a coating, and then I realized it was fascia. And I was originally called my stuff fascia facilitated fossilization, because everything was coming out coated with fascia. And that's what happens when they soak in like this bone. That's fascia too. They call it periosteum with the bone, but it's nothing more than fascia. It's the coating, the membrane around the bone. So I realized this was the key, and then I realized they all had to be in the flood, and then I realized that the fleshy flesh stuff eroded fairly easily. And other things that were membrane bound did not seem to erode quickly. Sometimes they did. Like this is a lung. And you saw this one here. This one here is totally perfect. This one here is eroded like crazy. It's something in the chemistry where it was. It's some kind of aqueous, watery solution. And some, I believe, is probably acidy or salts or whatever ate into it. Now, you saw the one that Gary had. It still had all the blood and the, you know, they're all different conditions. But Gil Hedley was the guy, and it was the interstitium, and here it is. There it is right there, March 27th, 2018. Meet your interstitium, a newfound organ. They dismissed it. It says, with all that's known about anatomy, you wouldn't expect doctors to discover a new body part in this day and age, but yes, we have. Gil and I specifically. The tissue contains interconnected fluid-filled spaces supported by a lattice of thick collagen bundles and balls. And the balls, Scott Wolter says, are concretions. They are not. They are interstitium balls. And the researchers said these fluid-filled spaces had been missed, for decades because they don't show up on the standard microscopic slides because they're squished. We showed them, I could see them. See, here they are right here. This is it, that's it right there. That's interstitium. Those are the little balls. Right? And those are the fluids-filled spaces. And that's what we discovered. And we have, the balls can be gigantic, literally, absolutely enormous. I mean, just you have no clue, absolutely no idea how big these balls are. And I'm going to show you. I tell you what, I don't know if I should shock the hell out of you, but I will. Okay, if this doesn't shock you, I don't know, you're unshockable. Consider this to be a white-skinned person, and they had white skin. And then below it they had red flesh, which we all have below our skin, whether you're black or white or pink or whatever. So you got your white skin, you've got your red flesh, you've got your balls and straps, and then if that was on the side of the ocean and the ocean waves washed in, you would see exactly that, wouldn't you? And what would you expect to find at the bottom here? Well, if these balls were much stronger, and Scott Wolter would call them concretions, these balls would be laying all over the shore, wouldn't they? Yes, Roger, they would. Well, let's see if we can prove that. And maybe we can at Hunstanton Beach in Norfolk, UK. Ooh, there's a white-skinned person with red flesh underneath, loaded with all of the interstitial balls that have now eroded and fallen onto the seashore. Those are not concretions, Scott. I need to discuss this with you, brother. You should make this right. That's all I'm asking. I don't think it's too much to ask for. And again, I'd work with you. I forget the whole thing. I don't care. All I'm about is trying to understand the truth, buddy. All right? I love you all. God bless you. Thank you. Have a nice day. All right. I've been getting these from a bunch of people saying he's showing my head that I had been showing right along, because I did the research with Jim Burchell, and I'm not going to let this go, Scott. So you can better get a hold of me, buddy, because I'm just going to keep putting it out there, and I expect everybody that follows me. I have almost 100,000 people now. I expect you all to respond to Scott's video and say, hey, you got to talk to Roger. And I expect you to maybe go to anything that is from America Unearthed or History Channel or I think it's Arts and Entertainment, any of them, and just say it's time to look at mud fossils. That's all, because they're just refusing it. Well, I'm not going to let it go, Scott. So it's time to do something, buddy. I don't want to be nasty, but I'm not going to let it go.